Hey, what's up? It's me, your girl Nia. I am coming to you from Black Exploration with Nia. Drinking your water and minding your business is the best when you literally have a chemical imbalance that is causing the personality defect of narcissism. I only want to talk about this because I have supported men through this. And I know that when men are in dark times, they drink alcohol or they have lots of sex. What value
can you
bring to this person and see in them?
So how much did you have to fix your relationship with yourself first in order to have a successful relationship with someone else? Even in the realm of dating.
When it comes down to it, people's opinions are not facts, it's just their opinions. Hey, what's up? It's me, your girl Nia. We are back for another episode of Self Exploration with Nia, and I am so juiced, so pumped to be here with Lisa Landry. She is the podcast hostess with the mostest. She has a publishing company. She's a Black educated woman, mother, and community figure. And I'm just excited to have an intimacy conversation with you. But before we get started, let the audience know about you, like outside of so food for thought. I really am into authenticity in this podcast. I know you're always keeping it real at all times. So like some people like to lead professionally, people like to lead personally. So whichever way you want to lead, you have the mic.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Lisa. I go by Low-Key Lise on Instagram and Twitter. I have a publishing company. It's called Low-Key Publishing, where I help basically underrepresented writers, mostly people who are incarcerated and others, get their stories out and pretty much get them a product. I'm also the host of the podcast called The Slumber Party, which is just a fun time for women to come together and empower and uplift each other, and of course drink. And then I'm a co-host for These Talks Are Taboo, which we have conversations with men and women that usually don't occur.
That's what's up.
So I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
Thank you. And so we're arch enemies because she's a AKA, and we'll forgive her for that. And I'm a Delta, so we're also going to have unity on this podcast too. So, hello.
Hey.
We like step cousins that don't like each other, but we just act good because we family.
We love each other.
So let's explore intimacy. Leading off, just as a Black woman, a Black woman who's been in relationships, how has your trajectory or your timeline been when it comes to intimacy, and what does that mean to you when it comes to connection?
It means different things for me. So I was in a relationship for close to 10 years, and my partner is deceased now. So, and it's just been 3 years since that happened.
Oh wow, it's hard to hear that.
So, no, thank you. And so, just kind of getting back into the idea and the swing of dating and being intimate has been very difficult because I'm typically a person that's detached. I don't put, unless I'm with you and I really, really love you, I don't put a whole bunch of emotion into sex or anything like that. And I don't like to be, I actually did my love language thing. Physical touch is 7%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's something that I'm working on, just being more open. But it's also hard because the dating pool has piss in it. And I don't like it. And I feel like as soon as I start to like somebody, kind of, or I think I like them, they do something and I'm like, I don't like you anymore. Or I actually don't. And that could be my toxic trait because I'm immediately ready to write somebody off. But yeah.
Well, I guess we share the same toxic trait because I'm an energy person, and if your energy is like a 52, you're cut. I don't care if you had a bad day, if your job just, it's, I think for me, if I spend time with you, you should have your energy in check. Like, and I don't think that's a hard request to ask, but we were talking prior to starting the podcast, we were talking about just energy levels and just how in this day and age, like, more men are presenting themselves and dating as the prize rather than giving the woman the energy to be the prize. And so
yeah, it's like they want us to court them. And like, you should be courting us.
So I'm like, I don't know if I'm old fashioned or if I'm just not trending, but I just can't do it.
Yeah, no, I can't do it either. And it's like, I think the people that I've been attracted to the most are those people that are like, okay, I'm intentional, I know things about you, I'm kind of like a manly, I just associate that with being a man. Like,
Right.
You're taking the initiative.
Right.
I don't want to lead the way. I'm not like, I can, but I'm gonna run all over you.
Right.
You put me in charge, we're going 100 down the highway.
Right.
So-
And we're doing all types of stuff in the midst of that. And that's what I was saying as far as intimacy goes. I think that a lot of that has to do with superficialness these days. I think that going back to what you were saying, like connection, for a lot of people, it comes secondary because we're trying to figure out, like, is this a person I can even like engage with like that? Or is quick to like cut people off. We don't give them hella tries like that. Do you feel like that comes from the loss of a loved one? Do you feel like that comes from just the way that you are innately, or like the way that love was shown to you? What do you think that just cutting people off comes from?
Oh, I definitely think it has something to do with like the loss of, because I just be feeling like that was my person,
Right.
You know, and I could be wrong. I mean, he was my person, but that doesn't mean there's not another person out there, right?
Right.
But I feel like if I lost that person, losing anybody else, like
Yeah.
romantically, don't mean shit to me.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
Right.
You know, and that's probably because none of the people that I have been romantically involved with since then has like really shown me a percentage
Right.
of what he showed me. And it's like, you ain't got to do the same things that he was doing.
Right.
But it's the energy.
Right.
It's the intention. It's your vibe. It's
Right.
your, like, it's just certain things that I feel like I don't know if I'm looking in the wrong places, but I'll just keep finding all these. I'm like, you're a liar. You're not even good at lying. You're just a liar. Like, get out of here. Like, I don't, yeah.
I feel like it's energy in the wrong direction. So for those women, because there are a lot of women right now who are like questioning what is good energy from a guy. Like, what did he show you that you feel like you haven't been able to tap into?
I never had anybody call me on my shit like him. Like, I can be the first to say now, like, as a grown-ass woman, that I was selfish as fuck prior to then.
Yeah.
Or I was very self-centered.
Right.
Or I was very, like, and he called me on my shit in a way that was like, not I'm belittling you, I'm telling you this, but, like, I'm calling this out, and I want you to do better. And
Right.
you're going to do better, and when you don't do better, we gonna figure it out, you know?
Right.
I don't feel like I've really encountered anybody worth all that effort yet. Because that's a lot. You know, there's personal struggles, you know?
Right.
It's like, it's a lot. I don't think I've encountered anybody that's worth that effort. Or that shown me that they worthy of me, even... Because I'm a Taurus. I'm naturally, like... I'm naturally closed off. I said this on Taboo before too. Like, any guy that I'm dating, they're always like, "Do you even like me?" Because I don't want to tell you if I do. Because I feel like as soon as I do, you're gonna do something, and I'm like, "See, this is why.
Right.
This is why I didn't tell you."
You know, show yourself like that. So when you guys had that first encounter of him calling you out, how did you take that?
First of all, I don't like to be told no. I don't like to be told even still, right? But he said, I forget what it was, but I was being selfish, and I don't think about it. I'm like, you're right. But I forget what it was, and he was like, that was hella selfish of you. And I'm like, I do that all the time. like, I know. Like, I know. But we're older now. You can't do that. You right. Because like when we met, we were both 18 and I was away at college or whatever. And so we dated for like 2 years, then we broke up, but we were still friends. And then like years later, we got back together.
Right.
So he was expecting some type of
Evolving. Yeah.
I hadn't evolved yet.
You were still stuck in the 18-year-old phase.
Yeah, for sure. Like 21, still probably doing the shit I was doing when I was 18 because I had never been told like that's not how you love somebody. That's not how you talk to people. That's not how. Nobody ever. They probably was just dealing with my shit.
Right.
Talking shit about me behind my back.
Why do you feel like he took that extra step to let you know that about yourself? Like, what message did that send to you to make you feel more, oh, I like this type of communication?
Because he could have just been like, I'm not gonna fuck with you at all. Like, you're still doing this or whatever. I feel like him telling me was like, I want to be with you, so this needs to change. You feel me? Like, I see this in you, and you're not meeting that.
Yeah.
Like, so get it together.
Right. Okay, so that is a level of connection. So there's different levels of connection, and so he was showing you intimacy. Like, so he saw past the exterior, past the time that had passed, and he was saying, even though you're showing up like this, I see this in you, and this is what I'm speaking to.
For sure.
And that is a special connection. And it is one where, you know, if that would have been continuously fostered and had its longevity, that is what you would call a soulmate initially. And a lot of people, because they have a lot of difficulties with like connection just with family, from trauma history, they don't have the ability to do that. And even more so, asking a man to take the time to put in the time to see that, it does take an intention.
And that's the biggest thing too. I feel like I want you to know without a shadow of a doubt, like, this is the type of girl that I should be trying to intentionally date.
Right.
Don't go try and have relationships with other people and you leaving me on the back burner, and then when that shit don't work out, then you want to come over. Like,
right.
No.
Right.
No.
And that's a form of leadership too. So I work with a lot of men. I have a wellness brand for Black men, and a lot of them come in with that block. And we do a lot of healing work around that, around connection. And it's just a fear-based mindset. I think that we talked about this earlier off camera, but a lot of men have showmanship, right? But you seem like you like someone with character.
For sure.
Someone with character. So what were some of the characteristic traits that you feel like were priceless about?
I like men who lead. I like people who are considerate. Intelligent. Like, determined. Like, you have some type of goals. I like men with money. That's not a characteristic, but I do.
That is a characteristic trait. That is a characteristic trait.
I just like bosses. Like, really, like, I feel like I'm a boss, and anybody that I am with romantically, I want them to be a boss too. Like, I don't want to be, I get up and go to work every day, or even if it's the summertime, so I'm not teaching, but I'm getting up and I'm working every day.
Right.
I don't want my nigga playing PlayStation all goddamn day long. Like, come on, sir.
Right.
Go do something.
More of like a leadership role. Yeah. So I hate when people call that like an alpha characteristic trait, but it does have some similarities to it.
Yeah, without the toxic stuff. I feel like
right.
alphas, I always think about with the alpha traits, I always think about those podcast men, like where they say like the bald head and the beard. Like, I always think about that. Like, okay.
So that has a lot to do with like, so you want a very established man. Pretty much established. Do you feel
establishing?
So, and where do you find these guys at?
I have not. I don't know yet. If you know, if anybody else knows out there, let me know because I'm looking in the wrong places. I need to get out of Oakland. I don't even need to get out of Oakland. I need to go to the right places in Oakland because where I'm at right now,
You're not finding that? That's so crazy. It's, so I have a friend and she actually seeks and searches for particular types of A-type, right? So like Fortune 500, well-established, charismatic, some type of leadership, development. She goes to business conferences. And that's where she meets them. Because most men are like that are not going to be hanging out. They're going to be about their business, on their business. And then they hook up with the women who are at these particular events trying to acquire wealth.
And see, my only thing that I would be worried about is like, are you meeting bitches at every event?
Yeah, they actually are. It's like the track team.
Yeah, but that is a good idea. I be trying to go to like little like lounges and wine bars and stuff like that. Like, and when I had single friends.
You don't have any single friends anymore?
No, they ain't single no more. They
wow.
got boyfriends. I mean, who told you to do that? They got engaged and all type of shit. I'm like, what's going on here? Now what am I supposed to do? But mind you, when I had the boyfriend, they was all single. So it's like, I guess it's my turn. But yeah, we used to go out like to upscale places. I can't go by myself. I mean, I guess I can, but
I think, you know what? I've went to so many places by myself because my friends were, now they're all single now because it didn't work out. Like a lot of relationships in COVID didn't last. But when I was the only oddball out, I had to travel by myself. I had to go to these places by myself. And I actually had a great time, like, meeting people. But it was hard for me to get out of the mindset that I had to be with people first. So I started off with just asking people what time it was. I was like, do you know what time it is? Do you know what time it is? I'm sorry, do you know what time it is? In hopes that they would start a conversation because that's how socially I was so used to having my friends with me that I didn't have to like interact with people. But the way that like communication goes is like you have to communicate with people and then you start to attract people to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Because they see that you're talking and you're not being
standoffish.
A corner. So that's what I did. I would just go. So I started off at Starbucks first. And I would go and I would order something complicated. And then they would get it wrong every single time. And then I would speak up and say, no, this is what I ordered. Because normally I'll be like passive aggressive. Like, oh, okay, they got 1 or 2 ingredients wrong. That's fine. But if it's like lukewarm or it's too much milk or whatever, I would say it. So then that got me used to like saying something. Yeah. Right? So then I matured to, okay, I'm going to go out and then I'm just going to ask people what time it is. What is it? What time is it? What time is it? Do you know where the bathroom is? Like, just small talk stuff so I didn't have to, so my fear of, like, speaking it and get before me, because, I mean, logically in my mind, like, come on, Nia, if you can't ask people the time, I mean, like, it was like a personal challenge, like, you gotta do this. So it got easier, the more that I put myself out there.
Yeah, no, I literally just went to, dinner by myself a couple days ago and it was like
it was
cool. Yeah, I enjoyed it. But my phone is the type of phone that be ringing off the hook, not with niggas, but with friends. So luckily, like, I just like I was very intentional by like putting my phone on do not disturb, like, and just tried to like engage with myself.
Yeah.
It was cool.
That's a level of intimacy too. Getting to know yourself. When I had broke up with my ex, I was telling you about prior to this, I thought that was my guy. Like, I thought that was my guy. We knew each other, like, through and through. But fast forwarding to now, I realized it was more of a comfort zone for me because we were always putting out each other's fires. Or each other's teddy bears. It was never like a stable situation to where it was just like how you were saying he was trying to make you a better person and stuff like that. It was more so like we were, because we were together, we were going through life together. And that's what kept us together, was that we were going through life together. But when we separated and we went our separate ways and, he learned how to manage life on his terms, on his own. And then I had learned how to manage life on my terms, on my own. We didn't really have good chemistry together. Like we don't have good chemistry. Like, I would not date him now
Yeah.
but we were compatible back then.
I was gonna say, I was like, I think timing is everything too.
Right.
Like, you know, like as we get older and we grow, and I think as women, we start to learn ourselves more,
Right.
really, when we're getting older. And so it's like, there's certain things that maybe I didn't mind or I didn't really see when I was 20, but I'm 24 now and I see that. Like, you know, like as a 31-year-old woman, I know, I'm like, oh, hell no. Red flag, no, we're not doing it. Like, I was dating this younger guy and he was like very possessive. Like, and it was weird to me because I'm like, I haven't experienced anyone being like this since I was your age. Like, why are you like what makes you entitled to me? You're doing nothing.
Right.
Why do you feel like you're entitled to me? Like, no. I had to cut that off immediately. But it was like, if I was still his age, I probably would have just went through it and been irritated. Like, instead of just being like, like, no, we're not.
Right. Do you feel like you're a woman that a man should like cut the bullshit with and not be like that?
Absolutely. Cut the crap.
What makes because okay, some men don't know the difference. They just see a woman who's attractive and they look at her resume and they're like, oh, okay, good, we're good to go, right? But their behaviors don't match what they're attracted to. So for the men that are out there who are on this spectrum that we're talking about, who, you know, they go after the girl, but they can never like connect to seal the deal like long term with her, right? Because they're doing something off-putting. What can they do to hold your attention?
Yeah, I think just cut the crap. Really, it's like, I don't like to feel like I'm wasting my time. I don't like to feel like somebody thinks they're getting over on me because you're not. Like, I just don't like to feel like, I always want to know what we're doing here. Like, you know, like, what's the point of this? Like, are we just having sex? Okay, say that.
Right.
Are you trying to pursue me for real? Okay, act like it.
Right.
Are we, like, you know, like, are we nothing and we're just friends? Okay, act like it. Like, that's my thing too. Is like, I'm heavy on actions.
Right.
Don't tell me one thing and then the following week you're doing something that completely negates what you said last week, because now I'm pissed and I don't like you.
So I'm going back to being intentional with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like, it's intention for sure. Like, I could go all day long.
What's the
about
craziest story you've had of a guy trying to impress you and you were like, okay?
trying to impress me? The craziest.
Like, for example, this one guy I had met him at Pete's Coffee. And I guess weird stuff happened to me all the time because I got a lot of weird stories. He started dancing in Pete's Coffee.
What was he doing?
And, you know, it was like he started dancing and then he grabbed
Like
me
slow
and started dancing with me in Pete's Coffee, and it was inappropriate. I think he thought it was going to turn out
like
better than what
romantic?
it did. But and if you're watching this, it was a good time. I had a great time, but I was taken aback. And then again, if you're watching this, he bought me a book.
Oh. Was it one that you would have liked to read?
I don't want a book. And that's why I say, like, I get, like, the gesture in that he was trying to try something different. I could have did without the dancing. I could have did without the book. We could have
left the book out.
We could have just had coffee. Good conversation. So what's the craziest thing that a guy has, like, you know, to try to, like, I guess show you a good time?
Okay. I don't know if I come off as like the girl that likes drug dealers. Actually, I do know that. But so I don't know how this guy knew that though, because he didn't have none of my social media. Or at least I thought. Right? At towards the end, I'm like, I think he's seen my social media before. But so I met him and he was not like the typical type of guy that I would date. So I'm like, Lisa, flex these muscles and try. So we go out on this date, right? We're supposed to be going to Emporium downtown, a little arcade. And so when I get there, he's like, oh yeah, because I was a little late. And he's like, yeah, I just, as I was walking, I saw my OG homie and we just shot dice real quick before I came here. That was the first thing. I'm like, you're lying. And why? If you're not lying, why did you just do that? And why do you think I'm impressed by that? Like, immediately I'm like, well, I need to do some self-evaluation. Why the fuck does he think I like that? So then I'm like, okay, I'm just ignoring things. So we end up going to Moi to eat, right?
Okay, I love that restaurant.
This was during COVID, so like they only had seating outside, and it was only one table. So it was us two, and then it was this lady and her nephew, and they were black, and they couldn't get a table, and so he was like, "Oh, you can sit with us," like blah blah blah, right? Why are you embarrassing me in front of this black lady? It's just like, my thing is, I care about what older black ladies think. So why are you embarrassing me in front of her? Why don't you care what she thinks? She's older than us. Like, have some class. He's like, the nephew was obviously like younger. He was probably like 20 or something. He wasn't able to drink, but he wanted to take his auntie out to dinner. He clearly didn't know, like, Moi's kind of pricey. But he hella trying to flex on the little 20-year-old. Like, yeah, ain't no paper shortage over here. Like, why are you behaving like this? Like, sir, you're embarrassing me. Like, shut up. And so then the lady's like, she's whispering to me, like, so is this y'all first? I'm like, yeah, this is our first date. I want her to know, like, I don't date him. I've never been anywhere with him before. I didn't expect him to do this, right? So then the bill comes. And he pays for their bill, which I thought was nice. Like, yeah, okay, cool. Nice. But it was just the way that he went about it. It's like, because it was their table and they let us sit there. That's what it was. So he ended up paying for their bill. And I thought that was nice. But it was just like the way that he went about it. And it was just like, you're just extra. And it's like, I get it. I realize that you may have some money. But then I think he was lying too, because my friend be doing background checks on people. And girl, we done pulled up the house he owned, everything. So the job, he told me
you always got a friend that do that. My best friend is my private eyes.
You know? Mm-hmm. He and I didn't know him, and I was on a date with him, so it was like, well, let's figure out who this guy is.
Right.
And then we ended up going to the San Pablo casino, which, like, why? But I think he was like really, really trying to figure out where I lived. And I didn't, because I met him downtown. I live in San Pablo. I met him downtown, and then I told him I live in the Richmond area, but I didn't tell him where. So he's like, oh, we could just leave your car and go to the, no, we can't. It's fine, I'll drive. Like, I don't know you. Why are you hella trying to figure out where my house is? Like, that was alarming to me too. Like, why do you want to know where I live so bad? We only went on one date. Mm-hmm. And you've been weird the entire time. Like, no. Like, hell no.
Right.
So, yeah. That
sounds very interesting. And it sounds like he struck out many times and you were just being graceful with him.
I was trying. I tried.
Yeah. And I think that guys, because they're so in their own ego, you know, when it comes to performance, they don't really pay attention to the nonverbal cues we give.
Mm-hmm. Read the room. Even like after, okay, so like a week later, I ended up getting COVID, right? So he's like, oh, I'm going to send you some stuff, which is very nice. But also, you should ask me what I like. He sent me a whole fucking case of vitamin water. This was a year ago. That case is still sitting in my house because I don't drink it. I don't like vitamin water. Why did you send me this?
Nice gesture.
Nice gesture, but just like, yeah, like, you know, you should have asked, like, hey, what do you like to drink? Or whatever. That's how I feel about flowers, though, too. Because I think men automatically think, like, oh, I'm going to buy this. Flowers. Like,
I haven't got flowers given to me in a while.
Good, lucky you. I hate flowers. don't give me flowers.
I haven't gotten flowers given to me in a while.
Like, I'm grateful for whatever I get, but like, I'm also like, you're gonna be pissed when you come back tomorrow and these fucking flowers are gone because I can't take care of flowers. I don't know. I'm not a plant girl.
You're not a plant girl. So what can a guy give you, like, for anyone who's like, oh, she's fine, I want to date her? So what's impressionable to you? How did they impress Lisa? Because we know what you don't like. What do you like?
Alcohol. No, just
Alcohol.
I'm just playing. I'm really like a quality time type girl. Like,
Okay.
for real. Like, I do like gifts, of course, but
So if a guy's trying to date you on the first date, what will be an impressionable date to you? Where you're like, you know what? Let me actually go tell my friends about this one.
some type of experience. Like, I just recently went on a date and we didn't do nothing, but we just went to a park and it just so happened to be like a little outside concert. It was white people, but we was vibing and I was like, this is cool. Like, you didn't
Right.
try to do too much, and that's great. Like, you know, we was just chilling and it was a experience. Like, I also like going to dinner, but I really like, like, I'm a quality time type girl for sure.
So less is more.
Less is more until you're giving me a gift.
Okay. And then what's the impressionable? What's the worst gift you've ever had? And what's the best gift you ever had that you would want again?
The worst gift I ever got, it was these ugly ass shoes. They were expensive, and this is how this goes to show the price don't matter.
Right.
They looked like little Pinocchio shoes. Like, they was expensive. I looked at the tag. I'm like, you spent this much money on these ugly ass shoes. I'm never gonna wear them. Where you want me to do with these? But it was like, I felt like they went with the intention of like, I'm gonna spend this amount of money, but like, didn't really think like, what have I seen her wear?
Right.
What was she like? What would look nice on her feet? You've seen my feet. Why would you give me these damn shoes? And I think the best gift I ever got, I had been talking about wanting some Yeezys, like, for hella long. I'm like, I want some Yeezys, but I don't put in no effort to get no shoes. So like, if I gotta
Right.
get on an
I'm the
app
same
and
person.
confirm all that shit, I'm never gonna get the shoe. So I had just been telling my boyfriend, like, I want some Yeezys. And he's like, I'm not buying no Yeezys. Like, I'm not because of the price or nothing, but he was on this, I don't like Kanye shit. So he's like, Kanye's not getting my money.
I think everybody at one point hated Kanye.
Yeah, like he, and then really the Christmas before he died, he was like, oh, come get your gift, come get it early. So I go get it. It was some Yeezys. I'm like,
So he not only met your standards, he exceeded them.
for sure.
So he left behind a kept woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so, and then that leads to a whole different level of intimacy and what we're talking about. So the ex that I was telling you about prior to starting this podcast, he was talking about kept women, and he was talking about how I think he was alluding to me. Because
the way the conversation was going, you thought he was.
it was third person, but he was telling me about my life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you could tell, like, from a spectator's perspective, he's been watching what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm the type of, I would say, kept woman that I'll never show you the guy I'm with. Like,
Yeah.
you'll see shadows of him, maybe his head, the back of it,
Little wrist.
but his wrist. You know I'm not alone,
But you don't know who.
but you don't know who it is, and he's getting no tags or anything. So he's like, yes, it's women who they literally like date men, and men just court them and like just take them out and spend hella cash on them. But he was saying like it's normally older niggas and niggas you don't get, he throwing them jabs in there. So I'm just sitting there listening like, wow, this is crazy. Like, minding my business, because he's not talking about
Because you're not
me.
directing it to me. Yeah.
He's not talking
You're not
about
directing
me.
it to
He's
me.
talking about them other girls, right? So I think he's right. I think that there are men out there like the ones I connect with, and we are very clear about why they exist in my life and why I exist in their life. It's not the little like, oh, you do for me, I do for you, you do for me, I do
Right.
for you. It's like, I do these things, I'm bored, I know you're a safe person to go on a trip with. I know that you're a quality woman, so I wouldn't mind spending my money on you versus these other girls. And I know probably doing this, that, in the dirt, and gonna do extra when we do go on a trip together. I just want somebody that's cool. I don't know why. I think it's because I am a healer. I attract men that want to be safe.
I was going to say, I think you said it, safety.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
They want to be safe. And so they don't mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even one friend will call me and be like, if I'm going to spend my money on somebody, I'm going to spend it on you because I know that you're a good person and I'm not going to just waste my time or like enable you. So what kind of kept woman are you? I'm a safe kept woman. So that's why men like to keep me because they're like, if I'm going to do some shit, I'm going to do it with Nia because she's cool and I know we're going to have a good time.
I would like to say the same just because I am a therapist to all these niggas. I be like, damn, sometimes I'm just trying to fuck and you over here got your head in my lap and you're weighing your burdens down. And that's fine. But like, that's fine. You know, like I want you to feel like you can do it. But also, you came over here at 2 a.m. I didn't think we were going to be doing this.
Like, I think it has to do with that whole good girl perception that men have of women and certain women, right? And so they don't want to take advantage of a woman in that way, but they don't have to do that. I feel this gets on my nerves because I've always been a little sister. And I hate when guys treat me like my brother used to treat me, like, oh, you're too this and you can't do that and I can't, it's like I'm really not that exclusive. Like I'm actually like behind closed doors. I don't like all that other extra, stuff. And if you wanted to have sex, I do too. Like you don't have to do all the
rigmarole,
theatrical stuff like that. And I get, sometimes guys will put you on this pedestal that you never asked to be put on with them. Sometimes you just want to be very basic, and maybe be like that with other people that you would be interested in. But some guys who that you don't really care about.
And I think too, some guys really, really want to prove like, this is not all I want.
Right.
I didn't just come over here for this, but like, it's okay. It's okay. Jake, let's go to brunch tomorrow and let's discuss this over mimosas. But tonight, like, what are we doing here? Like,
exactly.
Think, but it is about a pedestal, and I think a lot of men they look at certain type of girls like, we college educated,
right? We're
in sororities. Where I have gangster niggas that know like, oh, you're AKA. I'm like, how do you even know about that? Like, how do you even know that is? On the college campus. What you know? What you know about it? But they associate that with a certain type of woman. Like like I said, we're college educated. We have careers, right, etc. They're like, okay, she this type of girl. Not knowing that all women have a sexual side to them.
A sexual side to them. And it's 2022. And I was actually just saying it to my stories. In 2022, women want to fuck too. Like, we literally want to do that too. And so for me, I'm a very spiritual person. So part of my spiritual journey was just releasing myself of all those soul ties I had and just encounters that I had with like negativity around sex. And so I stopped having sex for a while, but it was never to like, it wasn't like the sovereign role I took around like, oh, I'm waiting for my husband, because I don't even know if I want to get married, right? It was more so like, I just don't like other people's bodies on top of their bodies on top of me if I don't know who you are as a person. And I was outgrowing that part of me that was just having sex because I had an itch. I was going towards more so, if I have sex, I want it to be an experience that I feel fulfilled in, because before I was having sex like very performative, and it was just to be like, either I was trying to like dominate the man in the bedroom so I could have some form of control outside of it, or it was because like I just really wanted to have sex and I knew that person could probably like please me in that way, or we were in a relationship and so I felt like it was my obligation to have sex with him. But going through all those different realities, now I'm at a point in my sexuality and my sensuality to where like I'm more open and transparent, but I get the sentiment from men like that they feel like they're taking something sovereign away from you, and it's like, first of all, why are you trying to take sovereignty from a woman? That's fucked up. And then two, like, we too old for that. You get to a certain age, I feel like you're in your personal development where you got to really see a woman as not something to objectify, but someone to have an experience with.
Exactly. And what really turns me off to a man is like somebody who you think just because we're spending time together, I'm entitled to fuck you.
Right.
I'm not. I don't care if we just had we had sex 6 times last night. If I don't feel like it today,
right,
I don't have to
today.
And I don't want you to keep trying to press the issue. Stop flicking my nipples. Actually, don't even look at me. Like, leave me alone because I don't want to. Right. And it's like, I've definitely been in situations where I felt like somebody that I'm dealing with has tried to, like, pressure me into having sex. I'm not saying, like, they rape me or anything like that. Like, no. Like, but you're just hella pushing the issue for sex. And so then I did it. And then I was pissed after, like, hella mad, like, get the fuck out of my house, actually, because I just did, here, nigga, damn. That's what it was, like, here, like.
So a trick to that, that was a nightmare for me. Like, that has happened to me in the past, and then when I went abstinent for that long, what was keeping me abstinent is that I didn't want to have an experience like that. Mm-hmm. I would like vet them, like, so what have you done? And what's the, I would talk around sex a lot to where it's like I was interviewing people. So then I was talking to my tantra coach, because that's who I did tantra to learn more about my sensuality and my sexuality, and he said 3 things to recognize in your body when it's time for you, when your body agrees with the decision, so that you don't have that regret. Mm-hmm. If your mind is clear, like you've made a decision, like I do want to have sex with this person. If your yoni is wet, like, so if she's like piping, like it's a go, right? And if the ambiance is right. So most of the times, for women, when they feel a sense of regret, it's because they have a picture in their mind around how it's supposed to be. And it's because you've even thought about it before, you romanticized about it, or you even like saw this man in a certain way of being, right? But also it's our onus to have the experience with them, because they don't know what's in our mind.
Yeah.
Right? We have to bring the environment or even talk them around what we're expecting out of it, because they're not mind readers. But how you know you're connected to that moment is when all those things are in alignment. If all those things are not in alignment, then you should just leave and not even, or have a conversation about it, right? Yeah. So I'm really big now on, because I've worked with men, I know that a lot of men don't know. Like, they have the best intentions on like showing up the way that we want them to, but a lot of them don't know because they don't really have conversations with women, or they have conversations with the wrong women and they go try to date the high value, or I hate saying that, the cat woman, we would say, okay. Mm-hmm. And so I actually make it a point now when a guy is doing really bad, I be like, listen, I have to tell you this because I am really working on like authenticity and intimacy with men, so that they just know, if I'm not the one for you, let me give you this game so that if somebody else comes along, like, she won't have my experience like I had with you, and this was my experience of you. And some of them get offended, about the situation, and because they take it like I'm belittling them. Yeah. And I had to always just come at it from a standpoint where, like, don't you think that men and women should have these conversations? Right. This is important. And I think a lot of people would be saved from a lot of bad experiences if we started talking about like how bad it was, or even sometimes how good it is.
Exactly. And I feel like my issue is like, as soon as I start feeling like, I just check out.
I think a lot of people do that.
I start thinking of my exit plan. If I'm not at home, I'm texting my friend like, hey, call me and tell me you got a flat tire. Or if I am at home, call me and tell me you need me to pick you up.
Right.
Right. He's got to go, and I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to back out. I'm going to drive around the corner and I'm going to pull back into my garage.
Right, and make him leave.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing so for me, I used to do that a lot too. But then I kept encountering my own karma. And I was just like, this is too familiar. I've done this to people before, and that means that it's catching up to me. So in order to evade like just stuff happening to me like that, I'm very straightforward with people. But also, some men respect it, and some men are like, I'm never talking to Nia again. Like, she's totally a bitch. Like,
And that's okay.
that is, but I hope that we could get to a point, and I hope soon, because we talk about other shit and we do everything else.
Exactly.
Like, that we can just talk about having conversations. Like, conversations are so hard for people to have these days. It's crazy. You would literally be fucking a nigga for months, ask him if he has a bitch, and him get upset that you're asking him about his personal life. It's like, so when do we talk about this?
Or you find out that he's in a full blown relationship and it's your fault. I'm like, whoa, like you actually didn't even, like there's some women who would consent to this.
Right.
I'm not one of them, so
don't put me in a situation.
Don't put me in that situation. Exactly. Literally. Oh my gosh. This guy is lying about the fact that he has a baby on the way, right?
Oh my God.
It's to the point that he posted on his Instagram story, X-ray. This is an ultrasound, sir. Like your girlfriend's getting an ultrasound. It's not an X-ray. You're getting an ultrasound. Like, why are you trying to put on for me? Like, I've already figured it out. First of all, I've already figured it out. You've been blocked for some time now. Like, leave me alone.
Why do you think that? Do you think his girl knows that he's out here doing all that?
I'm gonna just say niggas are embarrassing. She probably has an idea, but she don't know what he doing. Niggas are embarrassing.
And that is so... that's like disappointing because like sometimes I'll be out and I'll be seeing married men or men that I know are in a relationship just hoeing. And I just be like, y'all be thinking that is so cute.
It makes me not want to be in a relationship.
Off.
Yeah, it makes me not want to be in a relationship. Like, but there's that's the thing. There's a market for those type of men because there's some women who don't care. They'll take whatever little bit of attention or whatever they can get from a man, whether he's in a relationship or not.
Yeah. And the same thing happened to me with my son's father. She came to my baby shower. She touched my stomach.
Whoa.
Like when Instagram had just started popping off, like she like tagged me in like a share. Yeah. And so when I found out, I was like, why would you be in hella extra like that? Like that was so unnecessary.
Weird.
It was so unnecessary. And that's why I told her, like, I've never been a type to share. You could have definitely told me, and we didn't even have to. I would have handed you him. Like I would have like been like, oh, okay, cool,
have to be a thing.
Like you guys together, y'all doing your thing, great. But it's like kind of going back to what you said. I had to realize that there are some women that don't want to be with your nigga, but want to be with your nigga, and they just be happy that they're fucking your life up behind your back because they're happy to do that because they don't like the way y'all shine together.
Exactly, and that'd be my thing because it's like. You don't even know what it takes to be with this nigga. That's my thing. It's like, you don't even know. I'm going through the ringer with this nigga. And you just want to have fun. And you see what he's like. And you see, but you don't even really know what it is.
Yeah.
And actually, I was watching this other podcast. And Brittany Renner was on there, right? And she was talking about, like, how she had caught her baby daddy cheating and all that stuff. And, you know, she was just saying, like, a lot of girls probably look at the type of girl that she is and be like, oh, well, he's treating her like that. He's going to treat me.
Right.
If he's treating her like that, he's going to treat me even better, right?
Right.
But she said, sitting on the same dick as me don't make you the same bitch as me.
Right.
Period. It's like, and it don't. And it's like, I feel like a lot of women see other women in relationships and it's like, I want that.
Right.
He's going to do that for me too. No, he's not.
He's not. And the reason why he's not going to do that for you is because he's not gonna want to, because it takes a lot of energy again to be with a kept woman like that, and they don't want to do all that extra shit
For multiple, can you imagine?
right.
Like, that's a lot.
It's
Like,
not the same treatment.
we live in the Bay Area. Come on, like, hey, come on. If you're spending all your extra money on me, what are you gonna do for her?
Right, and
Unless she's giving it to you.
or unless she's just happy to be in their presence because y'all signify something together. So let's bring all of this back around. What are 3 takeaways for a man or a woman who's watching this, who's like, I resonate with Lisa's story? They may have had a connection with a soulmate, lost a soulmate, or maybe that soulmate, they just outgrew each other, but they're in a space of like intimacy and dating. What are some tips that you can provide them along their journey?
I would say provide what you expect. So if you have expectations of people, you should be able to bring that to the table as well. Being intentional and knowing yourself.
Yeah.
That's the biggest part about it, is like knowing who you are, what you like, when you like it, that type of thing, and just not wavering on that.
That's a grown woman mindset. So basically, if for the women who are out there, don't look for your answers in somebody, come with the answers and then tell them. What about for the men?
For the men, less is more.
Okay.
Bring chivalry back. And say what you mean and mean what you say.
Right. Actions speak louder than words. Yeah. So I want to thank you for coming out.
Yeah,
I want to thank you for being here. Tell them where they can get in contact with you, some of the projects you have coming up. Like, shout out anybody who you feel like should be acknowledged.
Okay, so you can follow me at Lowkey Lease on Instagram and Twitter. I have links to my podcast and all of that in my bio. Also, my publishing company. If you're looking to get a story out there, send me an email, info@Lowkey Publishing, or you can send me a DM. Yeah, I guess shout out to Justin since he's here.
Yeah. Shout out to Justin. Thanks for being the man behind the scenes. Well, I want to thank all of you for tuning in to another self-exploration with Nia. I'm sorry. What am I talking about? Black exploration with Nia. I'm still getting used to that. I really appreciate authenticity. I appreciate you coming and being authentic and sharing your journey when it comes to intimacy. I want to thank my audience for showing up today too for Lisa. So let's give you guys major props for that. If you guys have a story that you feel is noteworthy of sharing, or you just want to come and have the vibes that we have on the podcast, please don't hesitate to DM me, or you can email team@ridgelconsulting.com. We want to have you here on this seat too. These seats are not exclusive. They're for everyone. And the more that we share, the more that we can have more connection and transparency. So thank you again, and peace out.
Bye. Thank you for having me.